I know job hunting can be tough and stressful, so in this video I'll be talking about how I career journaled, as well as share some CV tips, LinkedIn tips, and a few interview tips that helped me land my new job. So let's get into it. Hey, what's up you guys, and welcome to the video. So if you follow me on Instagram and TikTok, you will know that number one, I went for a job interview quite a few weeks ago, and number two, I actually landed that position and got an offer for the job. And in a coming vlog, you are going to see me on my first day of my new job. So if you're interested in anything career, chartered accountancy, or just doing life, make sure you subscribe to this channel. All right, so today I'm going to be sharing some of the things that I've accumulated over the years when it comes to job hunting, as well as what I've experienced recently in my most recent job hunt that will hopefully help someone out there be able to land the position that they are gunning for, or to be able to land even your first job. I can do another video that is specific to first jobs, so if you would be interested in that, let me know by leaving a comment in the comment section. Anyway, get a snack, get your tea ready, and let's just go through some of the things that helped me prepare for the job hunt, as well as some of the things that helped me along the journey of this job hunt. Let's get into it. Before we get into that, my beverage of choice is this fresh pack cranberry and pomegranate tea. Absolutely love it. I drink it without sugar. Most of the time I do drink my teas without sugar, but this is basically rooibos tea that has been flavored with cranberry and pomegranate as well. Love it so much. Not sponsored, but this is one of my favorite things to drink. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about how I sort of prepared for my job hunt, or when exactly did I know it was time for me to start looking for a job. Now, just a little bit of background. Before this position that I'm currently in, I was in my previous position for exactly 2 years, and before that I was obviously in auditing, and I was in auditing for 5 years, 3 years of articles, and then 2 years post articles, and then I transitioned into banking. So I was a relationship manager for 2 years, and then I ended up landing my current job. So the first thing that I did, and this was just a little bit over a year ago, is I prayed and communicated with God. Spoiler, we believe in God over here on this channel, okay? So yeah, story time. It's June 2023, and I had started feeling sort of like I need a change, right? I'd been a year in my first banking job, and I sort of felt like, although it has aspects of what I enjoyed doing, but it was a little bit too client facing for my liking. As an introvert, you know, it gets a little bit tricky when it comes to dealing with people on a daily basis. But you know what? I felt like it was a skill that I needed, which is why I took the job in the first place. But I was starting to feel like, okay, I sort of have a feel of how, you know, the banking world works. And it was then the time for me to sort of look for something that, you know, more fit my skills and was a better fit for my personality. June 2023, I was at the temple with my family. I did vlog some of the trip for you guys, so I'll link it somewhere in the cards. But yeah, I was at the temple with my family, and I sort of had this question in my heart as to like, okay, God, am I supposed to be like, do I stay? Is there more for me to see? Like, do I stay in this position and just ride it out, or do you have something else for me in store? Like, am I supposed to be pivoting? Am I supposed to be making another move? Like, what is happening? What is the move? Let me know. Okay. And almost immediately I got the answer from God to say, yes, it is time for you to move. And then that's all. That's all. I got confirmation that, okay, it's time to move on, but that's all. So naturally, my next question was, okay, where, how, like, guide my steps. But it sort of just went silent after that. But I just knew at the back of my mind that it was time to move. Mind you, I didn't apply to anything at that point because I hadn't gotten the go ahead from, the creator to say it's time to apply or it's time to speak to so and so person or anything like that. Which at the time for me, because I needed like a change, I needed a change, and I needed a change. It got a little bit frustrating for me because I was like, okay, I need to leave, but where am I going? How am I going to get there? And so on and so forth. So naturally, when I went back to the temple in October of last year, I went back with the question, okay, God, I know that you said I must move, but where am I moving to? And do I do it now? Should I start applying? What is happening? And again, almost instantly, I got the answer to say, not yet. Okay, yes, you must move, but don't make any moves yet. So it was a little bit of a bitter pill to swallow. But what motivated me is the fact that I knew there was something in store, although I didn't know the length of time it would take for me to get that something in store, or I didn't have a timeline in place at all. I just knew that there was something that God was busy preparing for me. And during this time, it was so difficult to stay where I was because I had multiple people recommending me for different jobs, jobs that I felt like were lucrative and, were exciting. Some were overseas, just a lot of jobs that I would have been interested in had I been on the job search. But because God had told me not yet, I was like, okay, I'm just gonna respectfully decline. Okay. And then fast forward to about, I don't know, not the beginning of this year, but like March, the period between March, April and May, I got the impression, or I got the confirmation finally from the Holy Spirit to say, okay, now it's time to start looking at something. Now it's time to start preparing. So the next thing that I did while I waited for my confirmation to actually start looking for a job, I had decided to then start my career journal. So my career journal may look different to all the career journals that are out there, but I'm just going to share with you guys just basically what I had put in mine, and hopefully it will be maybe a guideline for those who are interested in career journaling. The first thing that I wrote down, because I am an A-type facing person, is I wrote down my career goals. So I wrote down exactly like, where do I see myself in 5 years, 10 years, what have you, what do I see in the foreseeable future for my career. Okay, because before I became a CA, that much of your time and many of your goals are geared towards reaching that CASA. Immediately when you're a student, you focused on graduating. When you do graduate, you're focused on getting into CTA and passing CTA. When you pass your CTA, you're focused on getting your board exams. Once you've got your board exams, you focused on basically making an impact as now a newly qualified CA, making an impact in the industry, doing something different from audit, because you're so tired of audit and you just want to get out of audit and you want to sort of pursue your dreams and you start doing all the things that you've always wished that you could do. Okay. But there wasn't much planning from my side as to what I was going to do after I became a chartered accountant. So this was a perfect opportunity for me to plan out exactly what do I actually want to do with this designation, what do I actually want to do with these opportunities that I've been given. What do I want to do in the future? Okay, so I wrote down all of my goals and all of the things that I wanted to do first. And then the second thing that I wrote down is basically what kind of a workplace I wanted to work at. Because I was open, okay, I had no idea where pretty much I wanted to work, but I wanted my workplace to be similar to the one that I was previously at, similar or the same, because I enjoy the culture, I enjoy just basically how things are done. So I needed a workplace that was going to be something similar to that. And then thirdly, I wanted something to be a little more remote and a little more flexible, okay, in terms of being able to work from home, work from office, and what have you. And then I had a very specific number. Okay, now remember this for later on. I had a specific number in terms of salary / cost to company that I wanted to get in my next job. Okay, and I wrote down that specific number. If I could show you guys my career journal, spoiler alert, I got offered that exact number without even starting the negotiation process, without even starting the salary negotiation. Like, just up front, they offered me that exact number. But more about that a little bit later. I'm not going to share the number because I don't know. No, not going to. But I had a specific number in mind and I wrote it down in my career journal. By the way, guys, my career journal is on my iPad. Just everything. I consolidated all of my journals and all of my books and all of my papers into, my one-stop shop, which is my iPad. But yeah, it contains my journals and basically my whole life. So, and then the next thing that I felt like was important to me was to get more financial statement analysis, being a big part of the job. I love accounting. I love financial statements. I love to analyze things. I love the numbers behind everything, Give me a calculation problem. Give me a maths problem any day. Give me numbers any day, okay? And you'll see me at my happiest. And unfortunately for me, in my previous job, I didn't really get to deal with the numbers too much. I did a little bit, but not to the extent that I would have liked. It was more, people facing and client facing and relationship, managing the relationships and all of that stuff. So I felt like it was important for me to get more practice with financial statement analysis because, number one, apart from auditing, I haven't had much experience with financial statements. So I just wanted to keep up to date with, financial statements, standards. I wanted an excuse. I wanted a reason, or I wanted to be able to keep up with, new standards that come up, how they apply, and also, like, as a financier, how do I then interpret different financial statements that come on my desk on a daily basis, and also just using those ratios that we learn about to sort of decipher like the health of the business and how to determine if something is a good investment and not a good investment just based on financials. Yeah, in a nutshell, I wanted more financial statements. I wanted more time with financial statement analysis. And then lastly, I wanted something that wasn't too client facing, okay? I don't mind a little client facing here and there, you know, a little bit of networking here and there, never hurt everybody, but I didn't want that to be like the main part of the job itself. Other prompts that you can write in your journal is kind of like, what companies would you like to work at? Like, what kind of companies you would like to work at? What skills does the position that you see yourself in? What skills do they look for? What skills does that job description have? Do you have those skills, or do you still need to develop them? If you still need to develop those skills, then in your waiting period, you can maybe work on trying to develop the skills that are going to help, that are going to put you in the most advantageous position to be able to fit the job description. You can also write down like, what job are you actually looking for, you know? I know for us CAs, it's quite difficult to sort of hone down because there's so much that you can do. You can be an accountant, you can be a banker, you can be an auditor, you can be everything in between, management accountant, you can be an internal auditor. There's just so much that you can do. So I think it boils down to each and everyone's specific natural inclination or specific interest. So yeah, that's one of the things where you're just gonna have to get super specific, like, what job are you looking for, what salary are you looking for, what kind of company or what kind of workplace are you looking for, what kind of environment are you looking for, what kind of feeling are you looking at getting when it's time for you to go to work. Because the last thing that you want to happen is for you to work so hard and so long to get a job, and then get there and you're dragging yourself to go to the actual job. So you need to make sure that you are actually writing down something that's interesting to you, something that, you know, fuels your passion, instead of just settling for whatever you can get, you know. So be super specific in your career journal, because I believe, I don't know, in some twisted way, that writing these things down in your career journal, because I've done this multiple times before now, and I actually ended up getting 80 to 100% of everything that I've ever written down in a career journal situation. It just makes me feel like writing these things down on paper makes them all that much more real, and it sort of manifests them into your reality as well, without getting to the universe. The universe is the source. But yeah, I just feel like because you write it down, as one of my scriptures says, write your vision down and make it plain, and you will see what happens when you do that. Y'all just gonna bear with this lighting, child, okay? I'm working on it. I'm getting lights in a few days, so just bear with me, okay? Bear with me. So next, let's talk about CVs. Let me share with you some tips that are going to help your CV stand out from the rest. So the first thing that I can say just before I get into the tips is keep it simple. Literally keep it simple. You don't need to be using those fancy Canva templates, you know, the ones with the pictures and the multiple columns and, you know, the ones that looked like a graphic designer did them, because chances are those CVs don't normally pass through the AI, the software that recruiters use to filter through the CVs. So a lot of the time you will have a good looking CV, but especially if you apply online or if it goes through some kind of online process, your CV is probably getting filtered out immediately because the software that recruiters use is unable to read your CV. So when it was time for me to start applying, so fast forward to May 2024, roundabout, when it was time for me to start applying, I decided I do have a CV that I used to get my previous job, but let me start it from scratch just to ensure that it aligns. So I literally, guys, if I could show you my CV, and maybe I will like filter some of the things out and make the template available to you guys to use. I don't know, let me know. But it's literally a Word document. It reads just up and down. I don't have any columns. It just reads from top to bottom. All, you know, your important information is on there. At the top, I've got my name, my title, you know, chartered accountant. You can put your title, your profession, whatever you are. You can put it somewhere there, very small. I just put my email address as well as where people can contact me. So it was literally that simple. After I had done my little Word document, I then converted it to PDF just to make it look a little bit more professional. And literally that was my CV. It's the most basic CV in the whole wide world, but obviously it was effective, Gesana, because I literally applied for one job and got the job. So yeah. So another tip when it comes to your CV is that for each position, unfortunately, this is the part that gets me, okay, about recruiters. And this is where recruiters, we need to talk. Literally these days in 2024, what you need to be doing is you need to customize and tailor make your CV to each and every job that you're applying to. So it literally needs to read, to align to the job description for which you're applying for, which is, guys, recruiters, you guys are just always moving the line, and we don't talk about that enough because Sana, who has got time to keep up with your trends? Bana, okay, ngoku ifoto ziyafakwa, okay, ifoto azisafakwa ngoku, okay, now you don't put people's contact details. I digress, but like, we need to talk. Yeah, so you need to tailor make each and every CV. If you have 10 job applications, you need to have 10 CVs, literally. So for my specific case, especially for, you know, that part in the CV, that little snippet at the top, the summary or the objective or the profile, you know, that little snippet about basically who you are and what you bring to the table, that little paragraph that you have at the top of your CV. Do you know what I did for that? I went to ChatGPT and I said, please write me a personal profile, or please write me a CV objective for such and such a job. And boom, it came out. And obviously, guys, you don't copy and paste straight from ChatGPT. You obviously add your own little flair in there, you know, just add some of the things that you also want to highlight about yourself. And there you go, you've got a perfect little one-liner or two-liner or paragraph that's going to capture the recruiter's eye, okay? And also, this is now my next tip for the job description as well. Look for the keywords in the job description. How do I look for the keywords in the job description? All you do is you copy the job description, put it through ChatGPT, and then tell ChatGPT please tell me what are the 5 keywords in this job description, or please tell me what are the key KPIs of such and such a job. So that's a 2-step process that I've just given you. So first, you're looking for the keywords, and you are going to make sure that those keywords that come up, look for 5 or so. Don't overkill, okay? Don't copy and paste the job description and act like you've done all of those things. Okay, look for the keywords, and then in your work experience, make sure that those keywords are appearing in your work experience, especially in your most recent role, so as to show that actually you know how to handle what is to come when it comes to this job. Okay, so make sure you know the keywords, you put the keywords in your work experience. And then number 2, look for like, what are the KPIs, like what are the main performance areas in a what. So for example, if you're applying to be an accountant somewhere, a group accountant, you're going to say to ChatGPT, okay, ChatGPT, please tell me what are the top please tell me what are the top job specs or the top performance areas for a group accountant in South Africa, or in Cape Town, South Africa, or in Joburg, South Africa. And then boom, it's going to tell you. Obviously, again, I cannot reiterate this enough. Don't copy and paste straight from ChatGPT. Read what ChatGPT is suggesting, and then it's going to most drum up in your mind basically your thought process along which lines you should be thinking. And then you're going to try and align the roles and the responsibilities that you've written in your prior work experience to that job description of an accountant, so that ubonakale to the recruiters that, listen, first of all, you've dealt with the problems that the job that you're applying for requires you to deal with before, and also you've got the necessary capabilities to be able to do the job because you've done something similar in the past and you understand what the job entails. Yeah, Yuva, it's as easy as that. Another thing that people are doing these days is they are adding achievements on their CVs. Now, I don't think, in my opinion, I don't think this is a must, but if you really do want to go that extra mile and stand out, then this could be a nice way to be able to catch the eye of the recruiter. So on top of your roles and responsibilities for your prior work experience, you'll also add in, your achievements. Now, when it comes to achievements, don't be vague. You need to quantify the achievements. So instead of saying, I grew my portfolio over the past 3 years, you are instead going to say, I grew my portfolio 10% every year for the past 3 years, or I've been able to grow sales 100% in the last year. And so be able to quantify your achievements so that the person who's reading your CV at least understands, even if they're not in your position, not in your company, not in your industry, they can sort of understand that, oh, okay, this is quite impressive. Let's move this person up the line. Let's give this person a little bit more brownie points. All right, my next tip when it comes to CVs is to keep it concise. Like, your CV does not need to be 4 pages long. And granted, the more senior you get in your career, your CV does tend to get a little bit longer because you obviously will have more, job experience. You'll have more work experience to put in there. Hopefully you have more educational experience to put in there. So your CV will tend to get a little bit longer, but try to keep it concise. Try to keep it like 1 or 2 pages, 1 or 2 pager. Don't make it too long. Make it concise, straight to the point. Again, put just the important things out there, especially when it comes to, you know, the current role or your most recent role. That's basically where the recruiter is going to be looking. But yeah, make sure that it's nice and concise, and again, simple, simple, simple. Now, on to LinkedIn. And I don't know, for some reason, our generation is not that much into LinkedIn, but literally, LinkedIn is your online CV, and it's an absolutely powerful tool for you to be able to network. So here are my top tips when it comes to LinkedIn. So firstly, when you're applying for a job, it low-key writes who the recruiter is, okay? So what I suggest you do is, when you're done applying for the job, or when you're looking at applying for the job, follow the recruiter on LinkedIn. Maybe like a few of their posts. Don't go too deep into their profile because creepy, scary. But, you know, like a few of their posts, engage with their content. If they do put out content on LinkedIn, engage with their content, like, comment, subscribe to their things, share their things there on the LinkedIn platform, and be a little bit more visible, okay? So that's a great way to be able to sort of get the attention of the recruiter, because the recruiter is going to see this person who's engaging with them, click on your profile, and your profile is got most your lovely LinkedIn CV with all your work experience, all of the stuff, you know, all of the stuff that we talked about in the previous segment about your CV. It's got all that lovely stuff on there, and the recruiter will be like, okay. And then when they see your application, it just all clicks, okay? It just all clicks. I don't know the science of it, but there is a science behind it. So, you know, feel free to follow the recruiter. Feel free to follow people at the workplace that you want to go to. If you want to work at a specific company, look for people in that company, but don't just look for willy-nilly everyone in that company. For example, if you want to work in the finance department at Coca-Cola, those are the people that you're going to seek out on LinkedIn. You're going to go look at the employees that are on LinkedIn from Coca-Cola, and you're going to see which of them belong to the finance department, and you're going to go and follow them. Okay, it's literally as easy as that. It's like Facebook for professionals. Okay, but before you do all of those steps, you need to make sure that your LinkedIn profile is complete. Make sure that all of the sections are filled out, as well as your headline, and make sure that you've got a nice and professional headshot that is going to be impressive to everybody. Again, LinkedIn, social media platform for professionals, so you need to look nice and professional, okay? We don't want selfies as your LinkedIn headshot. We don't want you in your sunglasses, you in your bathing suit out there. Nice and professional headshot. Doesn't have to be like super professional, but just a headshot of you in a neutral background, maybe wearing like work clothes. Perfect. Next is maybe the most important tip I have when it comes to LinkedIn, and this is true for every single social media platform there is out there. You need to be networking on there actively, okay? As much as TikTok, Facebook, Instagram, X, Threads, all of those things have something in common, and that is that they have an algorithm. LinkedIn is also a social media platform, and therefore it has what? An algorithm. So each and everything that you write in your headline, your profile, the people that you are connected with, the people who you interact with when they post things, that all goes into the algorithm, and LinkedIn tries to put you in front of people that will help your network your network keep going. Okay, so if you're trying to be a banker, okay, follow other bankers. And all of that information is sort of going to feed into the algorithm to tell it exactly who it needs to push your profile in front of. Another thing that you can do to enhance your LinkedIn profile is to ask some of your colleagues to give you recommendations. So this is going to enable you to have more credibility on the LinkedIn platform. As much as technology has brought us so many positive things, but also it's brought us a lot of headaches in the form of scammers and people who like to create ghost profiles and use other people's information to do that. So the more you are able to have colleagues to vouch that you are who you say you are, you work where you say you work, the more attractive you're going to be on the LinkedIn profile, because you're going to have that much more credibility. And the last thing that I just want to touch on when it comes to LinkedIn is to ensure that you put all of your skills onto your LinkedIn profile. So all of the little courses that you are doing and have done and completed, all of the things that are going to make you attractive to recruiters, make sure you put them on there, your endorsements, your certifications, all of that, because a lot of the time, especially for jobs on LinkedIn, the recruiters will have a certain set of skills that they are actually looking for, and some of them even go as far as to searching for those skills specifically, and then contacting the people who come up, contacting the people that come up that have those skills. So if you have those skills written in your bio, written in your profile, then when they search people with certain skills, you are able to pop up and be pushed to the forefront of the recruiter's eyes. And then finally, let's just briefly talk about some interview tips. Now, I've done a whole video about interview tips, so if you're interested in that, I will leave it linked in the cards, so make sure you go and watch that. But just in addition to those, I want to sort of provide you with what I did this time. So number one, obviously research the company that you are going into. But since I was applying within the same company, I didn't really have to do much research on the company itself, because I sort of knew that they're not going to ask me like questions of what I understand about the company or the bank or what have you. So what I instead decided to do is I went and researched the team and the business unit that I was going to be applying to, and also just the products that I would be working with in the role that I was applying to, so that if they were to ask me a technical question, I was going to be ready for it. So this is a good idea, especially if you are just transitioning within the same company. Ask the people that are doing the job that you are applying for what their day in the life looks like, what are the key things that they feel like is their job description, what things do they enjoy about the job, what are maybe some things they don't enjoy about the job, and so on and so forth. So yeah, it probably won't be a Google search that is going to help you, especially if you are transitioning into, you know, the same company. But if you are from outside the company, obviously you are gonna have to research all you can about the company, and I did cover this in my interview tips, like I said, so go and have a watch at that video on all of the bases that you will need to cover. Secondly, practice common questions. Now, this is something that I do all of the time when I am applying for an interview. And as much as I know they're not going to ask me word for word those practice questions, but at least I'll have an idea of what they are actually looking for, and then how to answer the questions that they give me. So it's a good starting point to build your confidence, and also just to have model answers that when the recruiter asks you something, you are able to click in your head what they actually want and be able to answer along the lines that you need to be answering. I think the only common question that I got this time was, tell me about yourself, and that's about it, you know. All of the others were sort of snuck in or asked in a different manner, but I was able to quickly click and say, oh, okay, this is actually what they want from me, and therefore I was able to answer them accordingly. The next thing that I want to talk about is you need to relax. You need to relax. If you are someone who gets super nervous before interviews, find some mindfulness exercises that you can do breathing exercises, do some meditations, listen to music that's going to calm you down and put you just in, you know, a calm zen zone, so that when you get into the interview, you can be as calm as possible. Also, do affirmations. That's going to build your confidence. I like to also do affirmations just to remind myself that I am that girl, and I've never not gotten an offer from an interview before, so I'm 100% pass rate. And even if this doesn't go well, it's not a train smash, because whatever is for me will locate me, you know, sort of to take the pressure off yourself as well, you know. Relax, and also just realize that an interview is a two-way conversation. As much as you feel like you have to impress the interviewers, but they also need to impress you. So you need to go in there and step into your power and know that, okay, as much as you feel like they might have the power because they have the job that you want, but you have the skills that they want. You have the personality that they need. You bring certain things to the table that nobody else brings to the table, and this is why you are that girl for the job. And you need to realize that you also have power in the situation, because if they don't hire you, then it's their loss. Do you get me? If they don't hire you, it's their loss, definitely, but also it was not meant for you, you know. So just go in there with that manner. Okay, as much as I'm being interviewed, but they're also being interviewed, so it sort of like takes the pressure off of you a little bit. If you feel like, okay, you're also there to find out if you actually want to work with and for these people. So that's one of the things I feel like that helps me relax, because I go in there with a mindset, man, okay, I actually want to find out if the people are going to pass the vibe check for me personally. So yeah, go in there now. We'll come back. Okay, you want to see the vibes, if these are your kind of people, and I feel like that is going to help you relax a little bit as well, and it's also going to give you confidence when you realize, okay, you are the best person, you are that girl. Ufundile, you've got a specific set of talents, you have a good personality, you're a team player, you are an asset to anywhere that you will work, and anyone would be absolutely lucky to have you. And I think sometimes we as people just need to remind ourselves of that. The next thing that I just want to stress, I did cover it in the previous video about interview tips, but please bring questions to the interview. 1 or 2 questions is fine. Literally bring questions. If you don't have any questions, or you're not sure what questions you should be asking, there are numerous videos on the internet that give you some good, valuable questions that you can bring to the interview. You can use those questions word for word, or you can sort of rephrase them to sort of ask what you really want to ask. Be upfront, because you're also trying to, like I said, see the vibes, if this is actually something that you want to go into. So choose questions that are actually going to make you think, and that are actually going to help you decide if this is a good fit for you. And then lastly, if you are having a virtual interview on Zoom, Microsoft Teams, any one of those platforms, then make sure that you are in a well-lit room, neutral background if you can, neutral clothing if you can, don't have big logos. I think stripes, like little stripes, might be fine, but it's better to have, you know, your solid colors. Pastels are always a good color to appear on camera. Blues are a nice color to make you pop on camera. Your neutrals are also a good color to have on camera. Grays are also quite a good color to have on camera, but be careful with grays. Like, as you can see, my walls are gray, ne? So if I was to wear a gray top on camera, I'm sort of gonna blend into the background. Do you get what I mean? So use grays sparingly. Don't use black, I don't think. Yeah, I don't like black for on camera. Your blues, your neutrals, your pastels, those are good solid colors that you can use, that you can wear on your interview. Make sure that you are well lit. As you can see now, I've fixed my lighting situation a little bit. The sun has moved away and I am now naturally lit again. Natural lighting is the best lighting. You don't have to have studio lighting or anything like that. You don't have to have a ring light. You can if you want to. It does enhance your image a little bit. For some reason, like, if you look good on camera, people are just gonna trust you more. To be honest, I'm gonna be so honest, I don't know the science behind it, but people are just gonna trust you more if you look good on camera. If your makeup is nice and natural looking, just highlighting your good features, your lighting is natural, soft, and your lighting is good, your camera quality is good, your mic is good, people are just gonna trust you more. Yeah, well, so it's all about creating that first impression even before you speak, so that people can remember you. You'll be memorable. Another thing, make sure you are sitting up straight, have good posture. Don't leave too much space between the top of the screen as well as yourself. Like, make sure that you minimize that space as much as possible, so that you can portray that you are in control and you have power and you are confident. Your hands can sit like this on your desk. If you have a desk in front of you, they can relax at your sides if you want, you know. Limit the use of talking with your hands. I know I love talking with my hands. Like, I don't think it's much of a train smash, but then it can get a little bit distracting. So you can, one or two gestures here and there is fine, but for the most part, you know, keep it cute, keep it simple. You know, I like to do this just to, you know, make sure my hands don't go anywhere. But you know yourself, what looks best for you. But just make sure that you're perched up on the screen and you are in the middle of the screen, and you're showing up as this powerful, confident image on the other side. Make sure that you make eye contact with the interviewers, and you do this by not looking at yourself on the screen, but you look directly into the camera. I know it's difficult, but look directly into the camera, and that is going to portray on the other side to the interviewers that you are making eye contact. Because if you look at the screen, then it's gonna, you know, eye contact is broken. So make sure that you look at the screen. No, make sure that you look at the lens. Did I say that? Yeah, look at the camera. Look at the camera lens. And that is going to tell the interviewer that you are making eye contact, which also, you know, implies that you are confident and you know what you're doing and you're just connecting with the people on the other side of the screen. So that is literally how I was able to land my current job, and I really hope that these tips are going to help you as well in your job searching journey. If you do have any further questions, or even if you have tips, make sure that you leave them down in the comments section below, and I'll see you next week for another video. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Bye.